Ondo is under $1 still, and you know what that means. Ondo is cheap. That's right. Ondo is cheap at 89.5 cents. It's cheap at this level because this is a project that I foresee having a $100 billion price tag on it. That's right, a $100 billion market cap. You might call me crazy, you might think that I'm crazy, but do me a favor, right? Go and research the Ondo platform. Research all of the things that they have tied to them, research all of the names that they have tied to them, and then research what they're trying to accomplish. I will bet that you come back to this video and say, "You know what? No, you're right. I can see Ondo becoming a $100 billion plus market cap project." Because again, if we're looking at this space right now, Ondo is at number 39 on the top 100 list. Guys, just to get into the top 10, you need almost $30 billion. We have yet to see altcoin season hit this space in a big way. And we already need $30 billion just to get into the top 10. Into the top 5, you need $100 plus billion, 100 and almost $20 billion of market cap. If we're thinking about Ondo today, its fully diluted value is about 8.95 billion. At $10, it would have a $100 billion plus market cap. But again, that sounds crazy on paper, but when you look at the facts, you look at the fundamentals around Ondo, you start to see the vision. But we're going to go over that in this video. We're going to talk about it. You know, we could very well be 48 hours away from one of the largest announcements around Ondo that, in my opinion, is going to put a big spotlight on this project. But just taking a quick look at the price chart, you know, I circled this level down here. This is basically our fake out. This was a lower low on the chart. This is that June price action before we had this strong reversal back to the upper trend line here. We have been in this uptrend wedge for quite some time now. And now I'm looking at us possibly retesting around like 81 cents or maybe even 80 cents flat before we continue to chop here before we break out to the upside. But Ondo is still very cheap around these levels. We're still trailing just around major support and major demand. I mean, we're at levels since, 2024 that we've been seeing, and even going all the way back here to like April of 2024 as well. So these prices that we're trading at right now are still very cheap for Ondo. You know, already this cycle, we did hit about $2.14. I still think that we go way higher than that. I still think that $10 is on the table. I think that we can hit that. Is it a little bit too bullish? Sure, you might say that, but $5 is also very fair. $5 to $10 for Ondo this cycle would not, surprise me or shock me at all. Especially considering the fact that this is already a project that's on so many major exchanges: Binance, Coinbase, Bybit, Upbit, OKX, BitGet, Mexi, Gate.io, KuCoin, you name it. So, it's already had, like, all of these major listings are already there for Ondo. It has massive market expansion and exposure to it as well. So, again, Ondo is very easy to tap into. And once retail starts to really see all these big names tied to Ondo, and then even with this new announcement that's upcoming, I think that we're going to see a very large inflow into Ondo. Let's actually talk about a few things though. Let's address the tokenized market, right? The tokenization market, almost $8 billion tied to it. In terms of public networks, about almost $16 billion tied to it. This market just continues to expand more and more and more. And what's interesting about this is tokenized stocks, right? We don't really have a ton of value tied back to tokenized stocks. Only about $342 million tied to tokenized stocks. It's a very small market. But it's a very small market because we don't have a major exchange tied to this where you're going to be buying and selling and trading stocks 24/7, 365. Which, if we're thinking about stocks, what do most people do with stocks? They either invest into them and hold them long term, or they trade them. Now, they can't trade them 24/7, 365 because traditional markets are just not open 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. They're only open Monday through Friday for a select window of time. But what if we tokenize stocks? Well, now you could buy, sell, and trade those tokenized stocks 24/7, 365. But there's no exchange for this yet. And the key word there is yet. This is the beginning stages of Wall Street 2.0. And what Ondo is doing is making sure that this becomes a reality. We're going to address that here in a moment, but the tokenization market just continues to make headline news every single week. We have here from Ondo Finance another defining week for tokenization adoption with significant developments from regulators, banks, and tech companies. The SEC pushed for unified trading frameworks, Google Cloud unveiled institutional blockchain plans, and banks embedded USDC into payment systems. The takeaway is clear. On-chain infrastructure is no longer experimental. Here's what you need to know. SEC Chair Paul Atkins signals super app approach to modernize the U.S. financial system. SEC Chair Paul Atkins outlined the SEC super app approach to unified trading in traditional securities, tokenized securities, and non-security crypto assets under a single license. The initiative reflects the SEC's recognition that traditional assets and financial infrastructure are rapidly moving on-chain, requiring updated regulations to support this transition while maintaining market integrity. Finastra partners with Circle to enable stablecoin settlement for cross-border money transfers. They have partnered with a subsidiary of Circle Internet Group to allow banks to integrate USDC settlement into cross-border payments. This collaboration will utilize Finastra's payment hub solutions, starting with Global Pay Plus, to connect financial institutions to Circle's payment infrastructure, facilitating faster and more affordable international transfers. Then the BCG publishes an impact of DLT on capital markets report. The stage for mass adoption of tokenization in capital markets is set. Driven by clearer regulatory pathways, mature technology platforms, and committed institutional participation, now is the time for coordinated action to harness the benefits of DLT, modernize financial infrastructure, and support sustainable economic growth. Google Cloud advances development of its institutional Layer 1 blockchain, Gcool. Google Cloud formerly positioned Gcool as a Layer 1 blockchain for institutions featuring Python-based smart contract support and designed as neutral infrastructure for global finance. The platform aims to support tokenized assets, wholesale payments, and global settlement, with CME Group already piloting the technology. And last but not least, the CFTC clears path for non-US crypto exchanges to serve the US market. This is through their FBOT registration framework. It's pretty straightforward. I don't think that you guys need me to mention that. But again, all of these moves have been happening in just the last 7 days. It's starting to accelerate more and more and more, more than ever before as well. Now, let's talk about what's coming for Ondo. We go back here to this post from August 22nd. We talked about this. We addressed it. Markets are going global. 9/3/2025. We are 48 hours away from this date. We are 48 hours away from Ondo launching one of the largest things around crypto. 100 plus tokenized stocks and ETFs on day one. The most expansive RWA launch to date. This is Wall Street 2.0. Guys, Ondo has $1.39 billion tied to it, and 105 assets now tied to it as well. You might be wondering, what are those assets? Guys, they're no longer just OUSG and USDY. We now have 102 tokenized stocks on Ondo. This is Pfizer. This is ETFs. Procter & Gamble, Wells Fargo, IBM, Apple, Costco, Nvidia, Netflix, Chipotle, you name it. Tokenized stocks are now getting unlocked, and that's all through this announcement. Historic week ahead on September 3rd, 48 hours away, 100 plus tokenized stocks and ETFs come on chain, flipping the switch to more open, global, and accessible capital markets. They are flipping the switch in 48 hours, and this is going to cause a massive shock to the traditional system. I can almost guarantee you that Ondo is going to be on mainstream media talking about this. CNBC is going to have them on. They're going to be talking about how tokenized stocks are going to change the way that people trade, buy, and sell stocks. This is going to be a huge announcement. This is going to be a massive statement for the entire industry because, again, this is 103 tokenized stocks moving on chain. Guys, stocks right now in this space have only $342 million tied to them. This is going to change everything. And the craziest part about this, right, is that this global markets, this Ondo global markets, already has a massive step through the door above all the competition. How do we know? Well, because number one, we have over here on September 10th, the general counsel at Ondo Finance is set to join SEC Commissioner Hester Pierce for a one-to-one conversation at CoinDesk's policy and regulation event in DC. We are starting to see Ondo collaborating with, these big players and regulators, having these open conversations to make sure that everything is set in place for Wall Street 2.0 to become a reality. And this is not the only thing that, Ondo has tied to it for, compliance and making sure that they have everything in place to, make sure that their Ondo global markets is compliant. We have this. On-chain finance deserves the highest level of investor protection. The same comprehensive approach that established Ondo as the most trusted platform for tokenized U.S. treasuries extends these protections to tokenized stocks. Number one, bankruptcy, remote structures to isolate assets from issuer risk. Number two, independent regulated custody for all reserve holdings. Number three, full reserve backing, ensuring every token is matched by underlying assets. Number four, over-collateralization, providing additional security. These institutional grade protections will power Ondo global markets, delivering the security standards investors expect for tokenized US stocks and ETFs. They are already, 10 steps ahead when it comes to preparing for something like this. In 48 hours, we are going to witness one of the largest expansions around RWAs on chain that we've ever seen before. This is why I say, when we think about Ondo and we look at the market cap of this thing today and we think, $100 billion, does Ondo deserve a $100 billion price tag? You better bet that it does. And this is where it starts. This is where the big move starts to get to that point. Ondo is changing the game. Ondo is making sure Wall Street 2.0 becomes a reality. And Ondo has been working with almost every big name in the space, Stellar, Ripple, Chainlink, you name it. They've already had connections back to BlackRock, JP Morgan, Wells. Guys, we're not just talking about big banks. We're not just talking about asset management companies. We're talking about some of the largest names on Wall Street in finance. Ondo has those connections back to them. So when we think about Ondo sitting under, $1, I treat this as a very cheap Ondo. Anything under $1 is an opportunity, in my opinion, for the mid to long term, range. Do not miss the boat when it comes to Ondo. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, thanks for watching. Peace out.